Good afternoon, everyone. Howdy, and welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, as we are each and every single week, coming to talk to you about all things building a custom home on your land. I'm Eric Allard, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined as I am each and every week by the marvelous, wonderful, masterful Dawn Dantzler, Tilson's Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience. Welcome, Dawn.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
It's going great. You have a beautiful background today. Looks like a very
I'm in Georgetown office today.
So. Georgetown, Texas. All right, so y'all got 1 hour to go find Dawn in Georgetown. She outed herself. So anyway, no, folks, jump in. We are talking about all things custom home building on your land in Texas. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook. We're not on Twitch, are we? I saw that we can go on Twitch.
No. Just we're sticking to YouTube and Facebook for now.
We couldn't be Twitch streamers. We could be Twitch streamers.
I guess we could. I can look into how to do that. I don't know that we're.
That's okay. We do enough.
I can add TikTok and Instagram now too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we might experiment with that in the coming weeks.
Oh, stand by, everybody.
For today, since I'm remote and not on my own equipment, we're sticking to Facebook and YouTube.
Perfect. All right. So again, it's Tilson Tuesday. It's 2 o'clock. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook. As we are each and every single week, we want to talk about everything that has to do with building a custom home on your land. We want to hear from you. So we're going to start like we do all the time. Folks, drop into the chat right now where you're building, what part of the process you are in, where you're watching from. We want to hear from you. And obviously, any and all questions that have to do with building a custom home on your land or whatever you're just wondering about today. You know, like why is the sky blue? Why is grass green? All those kinds of things. We want to hear from you. But do drop into the chat where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in. Give us a howdy. Tell us what's going on in your area. And we want to hear from you. While y'all are doing that, Dawn's going to give us a little bit of insight today of what we're talking about again. Hence, she's on the road, so it's going to be an easy one. Dawn's pretty risk averse, y'all. You're going to find out she's pretty risk averse.
Everybody had so many questions last week. I figured we would just do the same thing again, where we just answer y'all's questions rather than trying to go through any type of presentation. So it is really all about you. It's Eric's favorite. Try to stump him, ask him questions we don't know about. Like I said, I'm at one of our design centers, so I can summon in salespeople to help.
Yes.
We can tap in people. We've got our phones, so we can phone a friend. But yeah, it's all about you guys. Whatever your questions are this week. 4
monitors set up. Like a stock trader up in here. I'm ready for all the questions. Bring them on.
Yeah.
I even have a recall on my truck. I have that on my desk. We can talk about all things you want to.
Okay.
You never know.
Anything serious on the truck? Okay.
Nah. I mean, the truck has 101,000 miles on it. I would have known by now.
What happened?
No, I think we're going to be okay. Folks, jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you are in. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, here to talk about all things building a home on your land. Tilson's been doing this since 1932. So we are well on our way to 100 years of doing this for folks all over Texas. Speaking of all over Texas, yesterday was the state of Texas' 190th birthday. So,
oh wow!
Happy birthday to the great state of Texas. Well, it was on her 90th anniversary of our independence from Mexico, 1836. So, statehood came some 9 years later when we were deeply in debt. And we needed a bailout. One of the United States first bailouts.
Mergers happen.
we were one of the United States first bailouts. We like to think of us, we're kind of OG. We're original gangsters when it comes to bailouts. We asked first, and they hooked us up. So that was nice. But yeah, happy 190th anniversary. Kind of kicks off the rodeo seasons. I know the San Antonio rodeo is going on right now. I imagine Fort Worth kicking off pretty quick, and I know the Houston rodeo, the big one, is kicking off here real quick. So the trail rides are happening, and There are starting to be blue bonnets blooming. So that's cool stuff going on around the state. But yeah, folks, jump into the chat, where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you are in. We want to hear from you, live on YouTube, live on Facebook. And yes, it is Ask Us Anything. So if you don't ask us anything, you get to talk about what I want to talk about.
Be over real fast.
Yeah, be over real quick, and then Dawn can get back on the road doing whatever it is she's doing. But yeah, we want to hear from you guys. Again, there are absolutely no bad questions. The only ones are the ones you don't ask because someone else is thinking about it. So you got questions about septic, you got questions about water wells, you got questions about metal roofs, you got questions about insurance, you got questions about culverts, you got questions about permitting, financing, construction, energy efficiency, design changes, light fixtures, why we do the things we do, why I parted my hair on this side today. Any of those questions could be asked, and we'll be happy to answer them. But no, seriously, folks, the show is all about you guys. So jump into the chat, where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in, and we will talk about all the things building on your land. The world's still turning. I know there's a little bit of calamity going on. Hey, Ed.
Yeah, we've got Ed saying hello. It's raining again here in Seattle. So hey, Ed. I know you're getting closer to moving to Texas, so it'll be better. Still rains here, but not as much.
Yeah, no, we could actually use a little rain. Not all at once, but we could use a little rain.
Small amounts.
Yeah, we're hoping maybe Saturday, maybe we get some rain.
Okay.
Just in time for all the kids' spring break.
It's supposed to start tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Like either tomorrow or Thursday, they're supposed to be seeing some rain.
Excellent.
Little chance here in Central Texas tomorrow too.
Yeah, that doesn't rain there. That's not a thing. They don't have water.
Rain's imaginary.
Not allowed. Not allowed. So yeah, but folks, so all things on your lot, we got septic systems, we got water wells, we got culverts, we got construction drives, we got land clearing, we got why do we have to wait on developers to do stuff? We got a little bit of that going on in places.
Yeah.
It's hitting kind of close to home. Dawn, what are some of the questions that people do have from time to time about?
Well, there was one I was actually surprised we weren't asked last time. Most people want to know about timeframes and how long it's going to take from when I sign my agreement to when I get to move in. So if you want to talk
very nice. Yeah. So turns out we know the answer to that. Actually, I just had Mr. Ordino was in my office only moments ago.
Okay.
He beat a hasty retreat before we went live. Smart man. He pays his dues. So he's actually kind of gearing in closer to the 200-day mark, but our line is still 225 for actual construction.
Okay.
And then we're right around that 120 to 140-day time frame on starts. So that the first part, you get on your lot, it's a 2-part process. So on your lot construction, you've got the land development itself that has to be done. So we got to get the land ready. So it may have to be cleared. We certainly have to do some soil tests, geotechnical investigation of where the home's going to be built, have an engineer design a foundation specifically for that house on that particular piece of dirt. We got to get a septic design done. The county and state want to know how we're going to take care of the wastewater. So in most cases, you'll need a septic design to get a septic permit, to get a building or development permit. Color selections are being done, the appraisal for the loans being done. All that's that upfront 120, 140 day, 150 day time frame. And then you've got actual construction. Once we have all those things in place, so we have the loan commitment from the mortgage company, we have the building and septic permit from the county, we have the approval from the property owner association or the homeowners association and their architecture control committee. We have all those things done, your color selected, T's crossed, I's dotted. Then we start construction, and that's that 200 to 225 day time frame of actual construction. So total time still right about 10 to 12 months. We are seeing some done faster than that. We aren't seeing very many go much past that.
That's awesome.
So.
Yeah, and folks, that's really important as you're talking to builders. Make sure that you're asking them about both timeframes, because a lot of them, when you're asking how long it takes to build a house, may just quote you the actual construction time, and it's important to know you still have all of that upfront work that needs to be done to you.
Well, especially if you're doing a construction loan, because with those builders, that's when either the loan payments begin then, or the interest starts accruing then, is when you start construction. Once money starts being spent, the construction loan money starts to the taxi cab
the meter starts running.
Start rolling. Yeah. Great question. I'm glad you asked on.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got Victor joining us, saying hello from Graham. Our pad for our Polidoro build just wrapped up yesterday.
Oh, very cool. Victor. Oh, Graham is nice. That is out there. That is definitely Northwest Texas, North Central Texas. But yeah, beautiful spot. Awesome place to be.
All right. And then Ed has a question. Should buyers have a property drainage survey done beforehand, or is this something Tilson handles as part of the foundation process?
Good question, Ed. So we don't do an actual drainage survey or drainage. It's typically referred to as a drainage study. I've seen it called a mitigation study, conveyance study, or drainage study. And that's very, very rare that one of those actually has to be done. It's typically inside of a city, and typically if the property is in or near a floodplain. I've seen places like the city of Houston require that. So conveyance, right? Convey means moving something from somewhere to another. How are we going to convey water from point A to point B? Mitigation study. How are we going to mitigate the amount of water that you're dumping onto the neighbor's property or onto the road? It's super, super rare that an actual study by an engineer has to be done. It is possible, but almost never in the hill country. Very, very rare in the hill country that has to be done. What we are going to do in all cases is at our site evaluation, we're going to take grade shots. So basically, once you get the house situated where you want it, where we feel like it's a great idea, get it pinned, what we call pinned down. We're going to shoot grades. So we have a laser transit set up, tripod over off to the side, and we're going to shoot every corner of the house. We're going to shoot 10 feet away from the house. We're going to shoot the road. We're going to shoot the ditch before the road, the center line of the street. If it's safe and able to get to, we'll shoot the neighbor's property, just to see kind of where you are relative to them. And we're going to make sure that we can establish positive drainage away from your home, a minimum of 10 feet away. That's required by code. So that's included on every Tilson home that we do. We have to do that. So there's no reason to go pay for something extra, especially for where you're building. There's no reason to go pay for something ahead of time. Mainly because for them to do a proper drainage study or mitigation or conveyance study, they have to know the footprint of the home and exactly where it's going to sit on the lot. And you don't really have a way to tell them that yet. So they'll take your money and do a study for you, but it doesn't really tell you or us anything because it doesn't have the part of the property that the home is going to be displacing. Does that make sense? So
right.
When we put that house there, it's going to change the way water flows, if that makes sense. And so a proper drainage conveyance or mitigation study needs to be done based on the footprint of the home sitting where it sits, how high off the ground is it, is it 11 inches high, is it 14 and a half inches high, and then go from there. And that's what we do, on a much simpler level when we do our site evaluation and stakeout. It's hey, are we going to be able to get water to flow away over here? But great question.
Yeah, great question. All right, and then we've got Phyllis saying hello from Colleen. We're finally drilling our well. We thought we'd never get here. Thank you, Mariah, for all your help with this.
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
I know that's been a saga.
Yeah.
Why might water be more challenging in some areas than others?
That is a great question. Yeah. So water is it's a sort of a renewable resource, but it does require this thing called rainfall. And the more development that happens, the more people tap into local water supplies. If you pictured, a giant margarita at your local Mexican restaurant, the more straws you put in it, the less there's going to be for everyone. An aquifer is not all that different. Every well is a straw that you're tapping into an aquifer at a certain level, and there's different aquifers at different levels. Typically ones that they're doing for gigantic city water supplies are much deeper down than what you would do for just a single residential water well, although not always. Sometimes they're all the same level, and that's a little concerning. And so, yeah, sometimes just getting on the well driller's schedule, they can be way backed up. There's some areas that just don't have a lot of them in the area, and a lot of well drillers. And you do have to have, it's always best to go with someone who has some type of local knowledge. You can pull up, supposedly all wells are registered with the state at the local county level. It doesn't mean you have to have a permit to drill one. It just means that once someone drills one, you do have to register that well with an entity. And so you do want the person who's kind of done the most around there. They're going to get you at least the most accurate initial bid. So they're going to have a lot more knowledge of, we can hit water at 180 feet, but the times I've done that, I end up going back out and having to drill it. So we're better off if we can get through that and get down to the 240 or 380 foot aquifer or whatever it is in the area. So that's one of those instances where local knowledge really is beneficial. And so because of that, sometimes those well drillers have very long wait lists. And typically the further west and north that you get in Texas, the longer the list is, because the less people that do it, because the less water there is.
Okay.
It's a really difficult. I mean, Killeen isn't typically known for one of the areas that's hard to get water, but I know there's not a lot of well drillers probably in that area. And yeah, you're competing with. There's a lot of development happening in Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Hood. That whole there's a lot of homes, new homes being built, production homes being built. So sometimes that makes an impact on. Well, we thought it was going to be good here, and then 3 months later, turns out that's not deep enough anymore. So it could be a number of reasons, but usually it's just the wait list to get on the well drillers schedule.
Okay, awesome. All right, and then we've got Rob and Danetta building a LaPorte C in Marion County. Question: if we purchase Owens Corning Duration Flex Architecture shingles, do you just deduct the Oak Ridge? So how would that work?
Yeah, typically the pricing we do for, especially if you're going, product to product, we would do. It's going to be in lieu of, what we call an in lieu of price. In other words, so we put in our, we're going to outfit every house with what you just said. Yeah, the Owens Corning Oak Ridge shingle. Then there's a couple levels, above that, like your Duration Flex. I think there's one other one, like they used to call it their WeatherGuard HP. I've gone blank now what it is. Maybe it is the Duration Flex, but so we would charge you the delta. We just charge you the difference. Like, hey, this is the price for the Owens Corning Duration Flex in lieu of Owens Corning Oak Ridge, and you just pay the difference. So obviously we buy a lot more Oak Ridge than we buy anything else, because that's what we put on just about every house. So we're getting probably a much better price on the Oak Ridge than we get on the Duration Flex, but we still get a pretty steep discount on the Duration Flex.
Okay, awesome. Phyllis is sharing for her well, they're having to drill down almost 1,200 feet. So fingers crossed. They're building in Bosque County. So
that's what's wild to me. Like, and water is weird that way. They can't be very far from the Brazos River. They just can't be. I mean, the Brazos River runs right through the middle of Waco, runs through Bosque County. But that gives water for like us that are way downstream of it. So like in Brazos County, Grimes County, Montgomery County, and south of us, even, getting into Harris and Fort Bend, where the Brazos goes through Fort Bend County, Colorado County. But yeah, up there, even though you have the Brazos River not 6 miles away, you have to go 1,200 feet down in some cases to get good water, because you're needing water from an aquifer that's coming from way northwest of them, and maybe Amarillo or Lubbock or someplace. So it's a little mind-boggling because you can't see it.
Right. Yeah.
Underground. So
very strange.
But also the Brazos River is much prettier up there than it is in my neck of the woods. Runs a little muddy down here. Runs a little muddy.
Yeah. A little difficult down there. So what other common questions? I know we get questions a lot about like how much you can customize our plans.
How much can we customize our plans?
So we can do almost anything you want. I still, refer back to Holly's rules that if it's within the laws of physics, the laws of your budget and building code, off we go. We can do pretty much whatever you want to one of our plans. And yeah, you can, I like this kitchen from this plan better than the kitchen that's in this one. Let's do that. We actually have Rachel today. She was out photographing somebody who built a bear, and they just completely redesigned the entire inside of the home. Like they just took little pieces of inspiration from everywhere. So we can really do, almost anything that you want. There's very few things that we say no to, and we're starting to say yes to some of them. So it's worth it. There's something that you have in mind, give us a call. Let us kind of sit down with you, draw it out, get you that price. We don't charge anything for design services, so we can sit and dream with you and draw it out and see how much it's gonna cost for you. So it's pretty easy. Yeah.
Yes, you kind of skipped over that we don't charge for design services, but a lot of companies do.
A lot of companies do, or they'll make you put down your deposit before they'll start working, on your plans or something like that. And we don't do any of that. Like we will sit down with you and figure it out and help you price it out. One thing that sometimes does stump people, as you may have found, like a plan online, and what our sales team is going to do first is reach for one of ours and start changing that. And that's just because their pricing the way that we're pricing in the price book and the desktop pricing that we have, it's based on changing in one of our existing plans. So it's just faster for them to do it that way, to find an existing plan and start it. Like you're still going to get the house that you listed in to begin with.
Yeah, we're not going to force one on you. We promise. While you're not looking, we're not going to shove one in the
We're
trunk.
not trying to force you into one of ours if you fell in love with this other thing. That's not at all our intentions. It's just that's the fastest and easiest way for us to get you that price so that you know what you're dealing with.
For sure.
But yeah, you can do whatever you like. So.
Good work there. Good work there. So, what's another one that people ask a lot is about maybe we talk financing?
Sure, we can talk financing.
Don, what is EasyBuy? What does that mean? And how's that different from the way a regular house is built?
Yeah, so EasyBuy is an exclusive program to Tilson. And really, where it comes from is just we have the financial wherewithal to build all of the houses that we have under construction using our own money. And so that's how we do it. Typically, when you go to a custom builder, they're going to ask you to borrow the money. That's the construction loan that Eric was talking about earlier. So with most, almost every builder out there, I think I only know of a handful who don't require it. They're going to require you to get a construction loan. So you are actually borrowing the money to pay for building your house. It's going to be paid to the builder, but you're the one on the hook for it. And so throughout the build, they're going to do, like Eric said, like at the start of the build, that builder is going to take a draw and that taxi meter is going to start running. So you're starting to accrue interest from the minute that builder gets that first check. And then at different points throughout the build process, the builder is going to get another check and another check. And so your interest rate is going, the amount of interest you're paying is going up based on how much is taken out. So you really don't know at the end of the build how much this thing is going to cost you, because you don't know how many months it's going to take to build. And so how much interest is going to accumulate, any of that kind of stuff. And with Tilson, we've just we've removed that construction loan from the process. You're going to put down your $3,000 deposit. We are going to build your home completely using our money. And then at the end, you're going to go and close, and it's just going to be like buying an existing home. We're going to get paid off by your mortgage company when the home is complete. So what we tell you the home is going to cost, that's what the home's going to cost at the end. There's no additional interest, no additional fees, none of that stuff, and none of that pressure of worrying about, why am I borrowing this money instead of the big company that I'm buying my house from? It's also, you don't have the concern of what happens if the builder can't finish my house and I'm on the hook for this money. You don't have that. We're using our money. So it should give you a lot more peace of mind to go with a company like Tilson.
Yeah, and it speaks a lot to the urgency to get it done. People asked about time frames earlier, right? Like there's a reason that people hear about horror stories in custom building. It took forever. It dragged out forever. And like, to be honest, it can't go fast enough for our business model. Like the longer it takes, just the more exposure we have to any potential, like, I don't know, if a war breaks out in the Middle East and oil goes up real high, or if lumber goes up real high, like you're not on the hook for any of that. We are, because in addition to doing the EasyBuy, we also don't have cost overruns in our contract like most custom home builders do. So you have a partner at the hip linked the entire time, who probably the only entity that wants to get the house done as much or maybe more even than you do would be your builder if you build with Tilson Homes, because we're not getting paid a dime until the house is done.
With other builders, they've been paid 95% of the home price before you close. That's just the way that construction loans line up. So when you're at the end of the build, you're talking over that last 5%. And if you don't end up with a really honest builder, they might just weigh you out. They already have their money. And you're the one paying interest while you're fighting over getting that final 5% done. So it's a very different process. It's definitely something to think about, and something that should give you a better sense of security, which we've got Tawana asking a question that does impact something else I didn't say that is different about us. She's asking if you can use any mortgage company at the end. And yes, you can. Something to keep in mind, one thing that we do as part of the EasyBuy process is we are going to do an upfront appraisal. So whatever mortgage company you're working with, we're going to have to explain that to and get them to do it. So we're going to get an upfront appraisal on the house before we even begin construction. And that's usually kind of our sticking point, using mortgage companies that aren't familiar with Tilson, because they're not used to that. Most builders are just doing that appraisal at the very end. So that's just something to keep in mind. So we can let you use another mortgage company. We have found that it goes about 30 days longer on average in closing, just as we kind of explain what's happening with the EasyBuy process. But yes, you can use whatever mortgage company you like, as long as they are willing to do that upfront appraisal with us, because we want you guys to know exactly what your home should be worth before we drive a nail, so you're not finding out at the end that, hey, maybe this house isn't worth what you paid for it, because maybe there's bad comps in the area. If you're building the biggest home in the area, we want you to know that kind of stuff before we start building.
But I also said, Dwan, I know that you're kind of underway in this process, so I'd also one thing I would caution about, because I know when we're issuing out a commitment letter at this point in the game, for example, we're not the mortgage company at our instruction, at our direction, is not going to quote the rock bottom interest rate what it is today, because you're not closing today. So we've asked them to quote something a little bit more conservative than that, which just means a little bit higher than what the going rate might. So let's say the going rate maybe 6.375. We may be asking them to quote 6.75 right now. Part of that would be, or maybe it's about a half a point. So let's say it's 6.25 right now. They're quoting 6.75. That's actually us asking them to do that, so that if something happens in the market that's unforeseen to us, you don't get a finished house, we're all done, and now all of a sudden the rate's a half a point higher. I'm not saying this is the case in your case, but broadly speaking, now there's an affordability issue. The monthly payment jumps over what you were actually qualified for. So we kind of try to ask them to quote a worst case scenario right now. Whereas most other mortgage companies, if you're talking to them, they're going to try to compete immediately on rate. They're going, oh, we can beat that rate all day long. Well, you can beat that rate today. Can you beat that rate in 7 months? Well, we don't know what it's going to be in 7 months. Exactly. So that's something to consider.
That's a really good point.
At just straight rate, the rate that if it's coming from Wagon Hill Home Loans, it's going to be about a half a point higher. Not because they're not competitive, because we've asked them to do that to give us a little bit, us and you, a little bit of a buffer between now and the end. You're not locking that rate in until about 30 to 60 days prior to closing. And so you don't really need to worry about what that rate's going to be today necessarily. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, she says that makes sense.
Okay, good.
And then we've got Cameron over on YouTube saying the areas we're looking at will need a well. What would be a good number to budget for this cost since it's in Brazoria County? And what should we budget for contingencies?
Okay. Awesome question. Wells are the wild, wild west. They vary wildly across the state, even sometimes across counties. Brazoria, not super crazy. I would probably budget between $12,000 and $18,000 for a water well in Brazoria. You might be able to get one done for less than 12, but I highly doubt it. I'd somewhere between 12 and 18. 15 is probably pretty close across most of that county. And then for contingencies, people think I'm crazy. I'm a 10 to 15% guy. Tilson has everything dialed in as far as our pricing goes. So like you talk about cabinets, countertops, plumbing fixtures, light fit, like I'm not talking about any of that stuff. Any of the stuff that we're doing that's out of our price book, you don't need to worry about contingencies. Like that's the number. Contingencies for me would be things like if I'm handling it myself, if I'm doing my own lot clearing, if I'm doing my own water well, if I'm doing my own construction drive, that kind of stuff. I'm going to budget probably 10 to 15% contingency. So if it's a $500,000 house, I'm going to budget around $50,000 to $70,000 of just other stuff that might need to get done. But we can also help you with those numbers. We can actually get those bids for you. We can help you get that dialed in a lot more before we ever start construction, so that you're not kind of left out there. But if you have the room in your budget and in your wallet to budget 10 to 15%, you're not going to be upset about that.
Okay. Here? Yeah, that makes sense. It's always better to budget more and not need it.
You agree?
Than to need it and not have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, better to have and not need than need and not have. For sure.
Yes, 100%. And then we got Robert saying he should be released to construction on the Woodland next week. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's going to be fun.
That's really cool.
Let's see. And then we've got somebody on Facebook saying that we are the best of the best. We're professionals and experts, recommend them 10,000 times. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
It's very nice. Very nice. Yeah, but yeah, I think with contingency, definitely budget in a little bit to be ready for the stuff, because you're going to want to make sure that you've got that room just in case, and you're going to find some stuff that you might want to do a little extra that you didn't think about to begin
That is
with.
true. That is true. And yeah, again, it depends on how big a piece of property you're building on and what else you want done. I mean, one thing that kind of to think about would be like a propane tank or something like that. Like, where's that going to go? Do you want to hide it? Do you want to bury it? Landscaping, those kinds of things. Like, obviously, we're 91% we build is on acreage, so we don't include a whole big old thing of landscaping, because a lot of people are moving away from their HOAs where they had to water their grass 3 times a week and had to have it.
And it had to be a specific breed of grass.
Exactly. Yeah, they're getting to more like, I just kind of like let it go native. Is that cool with everybody? So that's anyway. Those are some of the things to think about. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But also, those people's forever home, you got all the time in the world. Like, I found it best to just get in there, get situated, see which parts of the porch you use the most and for what, before you start putting out a bunch of landscaping and gutters and downspouts and that kind of stuff. And that way you can have a little more time to plan around it once you're living there and see how you use the space.
Yeah, I know Justin has said on the show before that like he really recommends planning out your landscaping, getting everything established before you start doing things like gutters, and that you know that you're sending the water in the right direction, and you're not, things that you wanted to do. So for some things, and then Phyllis is sharing, budget for the unexpected, because we've learned that lesson firsthand. Which, yeah, she definitely had an extreme example of what.
What I just told you about 12 to 18,000 for a water well, that is not going to get one done 1,200 feet.
Is paying a little bit more, yeah. Yeah, and then we've got somebody on YouTube, Crystal Penny. She's building a rock wall in Bell County. Might be closing next week.
Oh, very cool.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
And then Cameron is saying they're looking to build the Polidoro in the near future, and they're in the market for a 2-acre lot.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Nice. Very cool. Whereabouts are you looking to build?
Yeah, tell us where you're. I think that was the Brazoria County.
Yeah. Brazoria County. Okay, yeah. Cool. Well, anybody, if they've got 2 acres in Brazoria County, Cameron's looking, so let us know. And then Duana's sharing, she's closer to 30 for the well, so it's gonna.
That's true. Yeah. But the beautiful part about a water well, I will say, I mean, I don't want to beat up water wells too bad. I live on a water well. I like them so much, I got 2 of them. One was already here. So it's a buy once, cry once. So from that moment on, the water is yours. As opposed to your option outside of that is some type of community or city water where you pay them.
You pay them the privilege for being able to get water.
That's right. First, you pay them for the meter itself. Well, first, sometimes you have to pay them for the tap. Sometimes they have a tap fee. Then you buy the meter on top of the tap fee. And then you pay them. Then
you pay your monthly fee so that when you turn the faucet, something comes out of it that's not just air.
And then you pay
for the water.
How many gallons you use. Yeah. So there is something to be said for, like I said, buy once, cry once. Like, you're paying for the water well, but then it is your water. From then on, you're not sharing it with anybody. You don't have a water bill. You don't have a mud tax because you don't have sewer. If you don't have a well, you definitely don't have sewer. So you've got no municipal utility district that can do a one-time assessment to you anytime. There is maintenance to the water well, but it's not a whole lot. Especially if it's done right from the get-go. So
yeah, nice. All right, then we've got Steve. He is selling his home in Florida and moving to Comanche County. Interested in the LaPorte for me and my 3 horses. Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Steve, I can guarantee you will not have to worry about hurricanes ever again. Not in Comanche County. Yeah. You are very well insulated. You may have a tornado or 2 every once in a blue moon, but no more hurricanes for you, buddy. You're good to go. So that's very exciting. Yeah, Comanche County is awesome.
Yeah, super exciting.
Great move. We got
it's a great
more
plan.
guys. Yeah, really cool plan. So guys, keep dropping your questions into the chat. We'll answer every single one of them. That's why we're here. So again, we are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, talking about all things building a custom home on your land. It is Ask Us Anything. So you got questions about design changes, you got questions about qualifications, interest rates, financing, construction, why we build, the way that we build, energy efficiency, site preparation, what has to be done on the site before we can get out there. How's drainage handled? Who handles the permits? What if I have to get approval from an architectural control committee? Who takes care of that? We'll just ask that, Dawn. If I am building somewhere that has like a POA and an architectural control committee, how's that handled? They have restrictions. What's the deal?
We're going to work with you. So when you bought that property, you have a copy of everything that they require in those processes. And if it's one we've built in before, we also have a copy of all of those things. So we're going to work with you to go through all of that. And it's going to be whatever application process they ask for. So they're all different. They all have their different nuances and exactly what they want to see. So, you have some like, there are some places that you build that we actually have to submit everything to them before we can clear anything on your lot, before we can even do underbrushing. I'm thinking of Republic Grand Ranch. We actually have to submit a plan to them and say, hey, here's the area of the lot that we want to underbrush. So before we can do any type of that work of site clearing or any of that, we've got to get that kind of straight and show them what we're planning to build, where we want to put it. And they say yay or nay, that you can clear that area. And then we're going to go through the process with you of, submitting the plans, making sure they're within the regulations, and doing all of that. We're going to fill out all that paperwork for you when we can, but it is probably going to be in your name. Same thing with your permits. Like it may need to be in your name as the home builder. You're the one, the homeowner. You're the one that has to actually apply for all of that stuff. So we're going to fill out that paperwork for you. You come into our office, sign everything, get it notarized if it needs to be, and we're going to send all of that stuff off. So again, and wait on those approvals. And if they're not approved, which happens sometimes, we work through any of the changes that you want, that you need to have made to it. So whether it's they don't like the paint color that you picked, or any other type of nuance, we're going to work with you to get all of that done. I know Eric doesn't live in HOA land, so
That's not true. I have a very strict homeowner association. Her name is Rachel. She's my wife, and you can't just do anything you want to. Trust me, I've tried.
But no one challenged her paint color.
No one person is going to challenge her on the Republic of Alarid that we live in. No, it's definitely not.
But we're gonna work with you through that process and get them whatever they need.
I've lived in my share of HOAs. I'm good.
Yeah, and I've seen it be a very simple application process up to like we want you to actually submit samples of all of the paint colors and all of these things, and we want to look at them, and we get through it. So we're gonna work with you to do it, and sometimes it will, that upfront time period that Eric was talking about, it is going to add a little bit of time, but we're going to work with them until we get you approved and get it going.
Yeah, we interface with them. Most of them are very easy to work with. It's just the select few. Are nosy, just obnoxious.
Yeah. And we'll tell you about it. We'll let you know up front. I mean, everybody's going to have the same problem. So get on your Facebook neighborhood group, and like you're the ones that have the influence on that. So,
seriously, yeah.
And there may be times where we say, "Hey, you're the homeowner. Can you?" These
also people have to live next door to you forever.
Yeah.
So maybe if you inflicted a little. Pain's the wrong word, but that's the word that comes to my head. So sorry.
Influence. If you influence, yes. There are situations where you have more influence. There are situations where we have more influence, and we use it accordingly. And with the HOA, the people who actually are paying the dues and doing all of that have a little bit more influence sometimes.
Yeah.
Night Outdoor Products is asking, what's the timeline from start to finish?
Total time is 10 to 12 months. So that's from the time that you give us you've decided which house you want, we've made the changes to it, and you give us the deposit, sign the contract, to the time that we hand you the keys. It's about 10 to 12 months. Again, that whole time frame, the faster the better for us, because we're carrying the construction loan. Like there's no construction loan, so it's money out of our own pocket. We don't get paid. If you're financing the home, we don't get paid until the house is completely finished. So
yep. All right. And then Cameron is saying, during our due diligence and inspection of land before closing, would Tilson be able to do the soil testing, et cetera, since we plan to use you as our builder, or would we need to sign a contract with Tilson first?
Yeah, it's very rare that we'd be able to do that. That would, because obviously you don't own the land yet. That we don't find a whole bunch of landowners that are willing to wait that long. Because typically what needs to happen is you have to have a cleared spot. You need to know exactly where the house is going to sit, because we do our geotechnical investigations from inside the footprint of the home. A lot of builders just get off the side of the road, get in the ditch, this soil is close enough to what's going to be built on, we'll just use this. That's not good enough.
Not necessarily, yeah.
No, I want it from exactly where the home is going to be built. And so the odds of the lot being perfectly cleared and you know exactly where the house is going to go, and we can cross the culvert is installed and there's a construction drive there that we can drive over. Even if all of those three things are true, we would still need the landowner's permission to do that. And you would, I'm not a real estate, well, I'm not an active real estate agent presently. I put it into remission, kind of like cancer. So we don't, if I were an agent and I were advising someone, I would want to be told that my offer is contingent upon being able to acquire a soil test, but that's only if the lot were cleared. Like the odds of them letting you clear the lot, put in a construction drive, stake the house on it, and then actually pull a soil test is going to be very, very unlikely. The good news is if you really like the lot, you really like where it is, it's not like we'll work with it. It's not going to be that much of a difference. I haven't found maybe one or two in the 25 years I've been doing this where it was just it's physically impossible to build a house on this. It's and that we're talking 400 to 700 houses a year in 25 years. Like it doesn't happen. It's very rare.
Okay.
So don't get too hung up on that. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not. If by chance, if it's an old cornfield that we can drive onto, yeah, ask them. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. You can make anything part of your offer in real estate, right? Like say, hey, I'd like a 60-day due diligence period, and during that time frame, I'd like permission for my builder to send their representative out to do a geotechnical investigation. All they can tell you is no, right? So I'd make the offer. If I were a real estate agent, which I'm not.
All right. Joanna is saying, I suggest thinking about a pond if you haven't yet and need a lot of dirt for leveling. I actually wanted a pond. My husband, not so much until he heard it would save money. But we were building two houses at the same time, the Canyon and the San Antonio. Oh, awesome. Good tip.
Proud of you. Yeah, I wanted the pond. That's how I talked my wife into letting me have a pond. Was like, look, we can use some of the dirt over here.
Yeah.
I don't know that I saved any money, but I definitely got my pond.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saved money versus doing the pond after.
Perhaps.
So, yeah.
Perhaps.
Lorenzo's asking, for the Canyon Model C, do you recommend the water heater be in the attic or the garage?
I was actually going to pull the plan up. So I've got it right here. Stinking on one of my 4 monitors. I'm
gonna say I would probably go for the attic, just because if I'm remembering that plan correctly, your
garage on the other side of the house is
on the other side of the house from the bedrooms, which means you're going to be waiting for hot water. So if you like your hot water quick, I would put it in the attic. If you're one of the people that's like totally cool with running your shower for a couple minutes before you hop in and then you have your hot water, then that's fine. It's where do you want your hot water sooner? In your kitchen or your bedrooms, your bathrooms?
Yeah. She nailed it. Like the two pros about putting the water heater in an attic. One is it frees up space down below, whether that's in your garage or in your utility room living area. It's nice to have that space back because you'll use it a whole lot more than you'll go check on your water heater. And then the other one is, centralized distribution of the hot water. So it gets to pretty well everywhere a little bit quicker. There are primary drains and fail safes. Like I know people get concerned, I got water up there. Like all of your plumbing is running through the attic anyway, and the PEX piping. The water heater is not the only thing up there. It's just the biggest thing up there. And so again, it sits in a galvanized pan. That pan has a drain in it. The pop-off valve on the water heater has a drain attached to that goes to the outside. Like anytime you see water running,
all of our homes are spray foam insulated, so you're not going to have to worry about the loose blown insulation plugging up any of that stuff.
And nothing's freezing up there. So anyway, it's not the water here in the attic of old, of the 80s and 90s. It's of the 2020s. So anyway, I got no problem putting in the attic. Both of my water heaters are in the attic in my house, and I've had them in the garage in the first Tilson home I built, and it was fine because my master shower was 4 inches away from 100 gallons of hot water. And And those other two people that lived with me at the time that lived on the other end of the house, I don't care how long it took for them to get hot water. They weren't helping me on the money
for anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Freeloaders. So it's a matter of opinion. Yeah. Don answered it perfectly. So.
Yep. Awesome. Robert's saying we're very ready for the Woodlands. Going from 1,400 square feet to 3,000 will be nice. We made a few changes to the layout, but nothing too crazy. Awesome.
That would be really cool.
That'll be really cool. And then we've got Jennifer saying in the final stages of building Apollo Duro E, what can you expect from a walkthrough?
You want to do it, Don? You want me to do it?
You can do it.
Okay. All right. So walkthrough, I prefer to call it a homeowner orientation. No one likes to call it that. I think before I die or retire, I will get that adopted.
People don't like it when we rename things.
I know.
We've been calling it one thing for 95 years, and they're not into it.
Anyway, walkthrough just sounds so blasé. So it really is a homeowner orientation. So one of the things you can expect, Jennifer, is we're going to introduce you to the systems of the home. So we're going to start from the outside and work our way in. So we're going to talk to you about the hardy, the roof system, the drip edge. We're going to talk to you about the windows. We're going to talk to you about, what I was just mentioning about the water heater. Boom, book it.
Jennifer prefers orientation. Okay, Eric's now your best friend, Jennifer.
Dang right. Well, choose your friends wisely. But all those outside water things I was telling you, like, so where the water heater would be leaking out if it's leaking, where the AC drip pan would leak if it's overflowing, like we're going to show those things to you. Like, hey, if you ever see water coming out,
there's water coming out of there, that's bad.
Yeah, call us. So we're going to orient you with the outside, then we're going to work our way inside. Like, hey, here's where the smoke detectors are. Here's how you test them. Here's how you change the batteries. We'll get you up into the attic. We'll say, hey, here's where your 4-inch media filter is. Here's how you change it. Just get a Sharpie, write the date on there, put it back in. Put a little bit of bleach down the tube for the sink that the AC unit drains into. We'll show you that. We'll show you. We're going to orient you with the home, the thermostat, how to program it, all that kind of stuff. If you have the Wi-Fi installed at the time on the house, it's not always the case, but if you have it there, we'll help you hook it up to Wi-Fi if you're interested in such things. If you want to play tricks on your family while you're away and change the heat and cool settings, we'll walk you through that. We're going to basically just show you what the different vents are on the home, and then talk to you about maintenance, talk to you about floor maintenance, talk to you about how to open and close the windows, how to tilt them. We're going to go through all that. So we're going to orient you with the house. That's part of it. It's not supposed to be hey, go find everything that's wrong with the house now. That really should have been done prior to that. But it doesn't mean that you or us don't still find stuff at that stage. So, but the point of that meeting is not to go through and do the whole blue tape everywhere thing. That should have happened before that. Again, doesn't mean that some of that doesn't come up, but really what it's supposed to be is orienting you with your home, how the ACs work, how to, you can adjust the vents, again, like your thermostats, how to inspect the water heater, how to change the temperature on the water heater, all of that stuff, how to change the systems from heat to cool to all that kind of good stuff.
They'll even talk you through your appliances. This is how.
Talk you through the appliances, how to get those fired up, how to start the dishwasher. It's really that's what you could mainly expect at the homeowner orientation, formerly known as the walkthrough.
Okay.
Construction will never adopt it, but that's okay. It will not stop you from trying.
Actually, that is Justin's preferred. It's just we have people who are used to saying walkthrough, so they do.
Okay.
It's what happens here. Just ask our our land prep specialist team.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a blue tape machine. Put that question up. Yeah, great.
Yeah, she's asking about a blue tape meeting. So that's not actually a thing.
That would happen. So and I should have said that differently, Jennifer, and I apologize. What I'm saying is there will be times where, and it's not always done with blue tape. Sometimes I'll be done with tape at all. Sometimes done with nothing. So in the age of iPhones, we take pictures of the stuff. The superintendent can take pictures of it and send it to the contractor and say, fix this. Here's your list, 1 through 13 or 1 through 14 or whatever it is. Here's pictures of what I saw.
Solves the problem of people just removing the tape and being like,
yeah, exactly. That's right. So there's no such thing as a blue tape meeting. That was an antiquated term I should not have thrown out there. But I wanted to mainly point out that the point of that meeting is not supposed to be, let's go find what's wrong with this house. That should have been done by our superintendent long before your walkthrough or homeowner orientation takes place. So there shouldn't be a time where you have to go through and tell us what's wrong with the house. Like, we're professionals. We've been doing this a long time. We know what should be done, what's done right, and what's not done to our satisfaction. So yeah,
she's as good. She thought we missed. You didn't miss a meeting.
Oh, we don't invite you to that meeting. We don't.
We say that because that is something that you're used to if you've built with, a production subdivision. That's what their final meeting is. It's not so much here's how you do the house. And what we find is like your attention is diverted. If they give you the roll of blue tape and say, mark everything that you think is wrong.
Yeah, I know what I would probably want fixed to fit for my house, but you go tell me.
You don't remember this is how, because you're looking at the paint around the thermostat. Yeah. So that's why we don't, like, that's not the focus of the meeting. The focus of the meeting is this is how you change your air filter, because this is super important that you know how to do this.
And you're also going to have like a homeowner maintenance manual that goes with that shows you, like, because it's like getting a sip of water from a fire hydrant. Okay, you're not going to remember everything from this meeting, and we understand that. So you get a manual that has pictures, lots of pictures of how to do all the things, and then our warranty department is a phone call away. Call customer care.
It also has the phone numbers for those people to help you walk through it all and get it all. So.
They'll help you.
All right. Cameron's asking, what is the process for preparing my specific lot, and what is included in the base site prep allowance?
Okay, so if I recall, your Missouri County is where you are in search. So down there, we are going to build, we do a 14.5-inch high start height for our foundation. Dawn's going to fact check me. I can see her eyes. Those are fact check.
Yeah, sorry, my big monitor's above me. I'm not rolling my eyes at Eric. I'm looking. 14.5-inch start height with a 6-inch allowance for out level.
How much? 6-inch?
6-inch.
Yeah. All right. So we anticipate Missouri being pretty flat. It's on the coast. So we include up to 6 inches of drop or footprint out of level, and that's just the footprint of the home, not the whole lot. So let's say that the house is 75 feet wide. If it drops within 6 inches of that, that's included in our site preparation. Anything over that, we would get a price to do that. Either whether it's done with a pad, whether it's done with just raising half of the foundation height on one end. It just depends on where the drop off is. But up to 6 inches of drop in Brazoria County is included. That stair steps higher the further north and west you get away from the coast, right? So, Llano County has a very different out of level allowance than Brazoria County. It's more like 24 inches over there.
Absolutely.
So, but it wouldn't be fair to put a 24-inch out of level allowance in Brazoria County, because I don't think the whole county drops 24 inches. Never mind one lot. So
so we don't need to be charging you for that.
Not necessary. So that is included, and also what I said before about establishing positive drainage 10 feet away from the home all the way around, that is included. We have to do that. So what would not be included would be like the actual culvert. Let me say this: the pricing that you're looking at on the website. This is what I'm basing this answer on. We can get you pricing or bids on anything that needs to be done to your property, and we'll happily do that and control it for you. If you're looking at our pricing on the website that Donna and her team have put up, this is what is and is not included. So the 6-inch out of level, the 14.5-inch start height of the slab, that's included. The 10 feet away of positive drainage, that's included. What would not be included would be like a culvert if you need one at the road, like a pipe to cross the ditch, the construction drive itself, and any clearing of trees. That would not be included in that price that you're looking at on the website. But we can get pricing on all of that if we need to. So as far as what you need, we just need a clear spot for the house, and then we need access. So culvert, construction drive, or just construction drive. And again, we would happily bid that stuff for you specific to that lot. That way, at least let's get a bid for you. Even if you're getting your own bids, so have something to compare it to.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hopefully that helps. Okay. We'll do a last call for questions. We're bumping up on the hour. I would do this for 4 hours if Dawn would let me. She will not, but she has important stuff.
I think Uncle Eddie would have some issues with that.
Apparently, maybe, I don't know. Having Eric unoccupied could be more dangerous than having Eric occupied. So sometimes I need to be in a kennel. Anyway, so last call for questions. Again, drop anything you want to in the chat. We'll answer it. Thank you all for watching, of course. And naturally, the journey doesn't have to end here, right? So we've got this forum. Every single one of these that we do, folks, it's on our YouTube channel. They're also on our website. We have an amazing website, open 24/7, that's got all kinds of blog posts on there. It's got all of our floor plans. They're interactive. You can do custom options. Again, you can see all of these episodes. If you want to torture yourself and watch them, you can. It is award winning. We have an award. There's an award over there for this. It happened.
Yeah, it happened.
Yep, the little spire. So that's there. We got an Instagram page. We have a Facebook page. Many of you are on there right now, which is awesome. Great community of people to ask questions of and get answers on. And then, oh man, Mimi's here.
This is great info from Tilson Pros. Thank you.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Tell them who your favorite is. Anyway, so we got a YouTube channel that's got, I mean, hundreds of hours, maybe thousands. Maybe pushing thousands at this point. We got lots and lots of hours of bingeable content. Super easy to navigate. Donna and her team have done an amazing job of organizing it all into playlists. So if you want to watch just construction, how we do our construction and why, you want to watch customer testimonials, you want to watch customer home tours, you want to watch all of these lives, all 250 something of these that we've done. They're all on there. You can just binge on that stuff. What else is there? Oh, we got new home specialists that you can reach out to make appointments with, have high-level conversations, get questions answered. And of course, last but not least, 12 design centers across the state, folks, open 7 days a week to sit down, answer all your questions, especially specific to your area. You got questions about like Brazoria County specifically, go to the Angleton sales office. It's in the county seat of Brazoria County. We've been building Brazoria County for our entire existence. I mean, the better part of the 90 years. We've had a location there for going on 50 years, which is terrifying because, yeah, anyway. So,
yeah, because you remember that from when you were little.
Exactly.
All right. Cameron has a question about flood zone. So what about land that's located in a flood zone? I know that could cost additional for elevation requirements based on the county.
It does. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you can, try not to buy in a flood zone, or where at least part of the property is not in the flood zone. So if one corner of it is in the flood zone, I mean, no matter what, we're going to have to do something if any part of it is. I can't remember Brazoria County's offhand, so this is a great example of why to reach out directly to our Angleton sales office. They would have it. I can't remember if it's 2 feet above base flood. I don't remember what it is right now, but most of them have a minimum height of the. So, for example, I said that what's included in our price is 14.5 inches above the natural ground. Okay, so well, if you buy a piece of property where part of it's in the floodplain, the county may require, well, that's all well and good. We require 2 feet above base flood. So wherever that floodplain is, and there'll be a, first of all, on my survey, I would ask for an elevation certificate. Write that down, jot that down. Ask for elevation certificate. And then that will tell us if the county says, for example, you have to be 2 feet above base flood elevation. Let's say base flood there is 53 feet above mean sea level. You people in Central Texas, ignore that. Yeah, I just said 53 feet. There are places in Texas that are within 800 feet of sea level. Missouri is one of them. That would mean that the top of our finished floor, like where you're walking around in your house, would have to be at 55 feet. They want it 2 feet above base flood. So, and that has to do with FEMA maps, and really what it comes down to, as all things with government, it comes down to money. Okay, it comes down to how much money, how much disaster recovery money they're going to get from FEMA should something catastrophic happen. The counties have to answer to FEMA on, hey, did you permit a bunch of houses to get built inside?
Yes. What do you do to prevent this from happening?
Yeah. So anyway, great question. And again, reach out and ask us. We can help you with that. That information is actually very readily available. If you Google FEMA flood map by address, you can actually like type in pretty much any address in Texas and it'll tell you if it's in the floodplain or not, or you can tell you where the floodplain goes. So trying to make it pretty easy.
Awesome. He says this has all been very helpful, and thank you both for all you do. I'm looking forward to our future Polidoro seed build. Awesome.
Us too.
Glad
Us
to
too.
So,
so do not let the journey end here, folks. Reach out to us in some way, shape, or form. Stop in any of our offices. We got bottled water there, a cup of coffee there. I've seen some pretty wild flavors of creamer that some of these sales offices have there. So there are definitely preferences. Do we build in Abilene?
Yeah. Do you build in Abilene and Tuscola?
So Abilene's going to be tough. We don't presently have. We've done it before. Okay, so I'm not going to say an absolute.
We're getting closer. We're inching that way.
We have We have built in that county before. But as of right now, I don't think we have pricing for that. That would be a question that Dawn's online sales team could reach out to our construction team out that way. And see, Tuscola, I can pretty well say is out. That's way too far west for what we can control. But Abilene, I know they're in the same county. I realize that, but Abilene's a little closer than Tuscola. I mean, I know we've built in Cisco, not infrequently. We've tiptoed into Taylor County, but the west side.
So Warren, reach out to the phone number on our website or reach out through that contact form. And what we're going to want from you is the property address. And that way we can reach out to our construction team and see if they're willing to.
You can send us a
entertain it.
Direct message to Facebook.
Or you can send us a private message too. Just with that information, we need to add. We want to see the address of the property so we can figure out, how close it is to other sites, other homes that we're building, and if we're able to extend to that area.
Yeah, we want to be able to service you the way we would service somebody anywhere else in the state. That's what it comes down to.
Yep. And then Ed says, "Thanks again, YouTube. Thanks for watching, Ed."
Thanks, Ed. All right, folks. Well, Dawn, thank you for putting this on, especially when you're on the road. I know it can be uncomfortable working outside of your home field advantage. So, thanks for doing that. And thank you all for watching. We hope this was helpful, and we genuinely soon hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see y'all later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Mom.